Here we are, it's a Wednesday night channeling. Good to see you people I haven't seen for some time. This is number 103 from when we started counting again.
Why don't you put the numbers on the little books?
I don't want to. Well, you don't need to be mixed up. You're all right. Our topic tonight is called Taking Charge of Your Life. And Gadon is the one that's talking. And then the writing that we sometimes have, he says, You and you alone are responsible for your life and everything in it. To some this may not seem just, because you are looking at only the present incarnation. It is helpful to be reminded of the truth, and this is why you come to these classes, to jog your eternal memory of that which is and that which is not. Also, to bathe in the divine light of, to bathe in the divine love and light of these beings from these realms of love and light and healing power that they bring to this circle of light. My beloveds, you are indeed blessed to hear the call of the divine within you, to ask, seek, and knock on the door of your consciousness, that it may bring forth the true understanding of your being and life and the creator of life. We would encourage you to continue your journey Godward. In truth, you are already there, but know it not in the full realization of your understanding. You are moving forward toward your goal, and we commend you for your desire to grow to the fullness of your spiritual self. To reach your destiny, it is important that you take charge of your life, take charge of your mind and emotions, instead of them taking charge of you. Learning to be aware of who is running your life and the little self or the God that dwells within you. Let us have a quiet time before we go in. Close our eyes and lift our thoughts upward and see this circle of light as a channel that moves upward to the divine realms of love and light. And as we reach upward, these beings of light are reaching down to us, and we meet them and make contact. And remember all those who are here that are not visible to our physical eyes, and let us send them love, for they have come to learn too. And our teachers and guides, those who are helping us through this incarnation, let us send them divine love, that we may have a better contact with them and be open to their guidance. Thank you, Father. Good evening, my dear ones. This is Gadon, coming to you from these realms of love and light. It is indeed a pleasure to be here with you, and it is indeed a pleasure to see these who have not been here for some time. We welcome you and your vibrations that you add to this circle of light. This is a beautiful time to open your minds and your hearts when you come to these weekly sessions, to open wide your understanding and allow yourself to reach inward when you hear these words, reach inward to the God self of you to confirm that which you hear, and to be able to allow yourself to come out, to bring out, I should say, the understanding of the divine being that is within you, to bring it out and use it in your everyday life. It is a remarkable thing to understand that you are divine as you walk this physical path, for so many on this path, on this plane, do not understand this, and they think of themselves as this physical body only. As you learn to understand that you are divine beings, and that you came from eternity that had no beginning and will have no end, as you learn to move your consciousness upward and take charge of yourself while you are walking this physical path. If you do not, my dear ones, your little self and the world will take charge of you, and you may not be happy with the outcome. As you go to the classes, as you come to these sessions, as you read the books that you read, you gain greater understanding and enlightenment, and you gradually but surely are moving upward in consciousness. You are growing, and when you feel that you are not growing, you come to receive some more light, to bathe in the light and love that is in this circle of light. For my dear ones, there are many beings of divine light and love that are attending your circle, and there are many who have come to learn as you are learning. Your teachers and guides are here also, and they are beaming love to you as these words are being spoken, so that you may get the most from it. I would have you to consider watching yourself more closely as you go through your day. This is one of the things that you learned in your classes, is to be aware, self-awareness. Taking charge of your life means to be aware of how you are feeling at the moment, how you are thinking, and whether it is on the plus side or the minus side. So much of the time, people on this plane just go along with whatever's happening and do not even stop to think about their destiny. Do not even stop to think beyond this physical plane, because they know nothing else. You who come to these classes are learning to know that life is eternal life, and that you are divine. You are divine beings. I would remind you of this over and over until you have the full realization of your divinity. And when you have this full realization that God lives within you, He breathes the breath that you breathe, He is the life force that you are, He is thinking every thought with you, because He is giving you the life to think these thoughts. He gives you the choice, my dear ones, of what to think, what to say, and what to do. But His life force is activating the being that you are, and is giving you the mechanism to work through. But it is your choice every moment of what you will think, how you will feel, what mood that you have. And when you become aware, fully aware, and you have heard this saying, self-awareness, from many teachers maybe and from many books, but it is important that you truly become aware of your divinity, not just when you come to class and not just when you sit down to have a quiet time, but all through the day in all kinds of situations and conditions. To be aware when adversity seems to be pressing down upon you. To be aware when you are driving in traffic and are in the commercial world. To be aware at all times that God is everywhere present and that God lives within everyone just as he lives within you. And as you do this, you can truly love life as you find it, no matter how it seems to be appearing at the time. Now this may seem puzzling to some of you, to love life that appears to be negative and destructive, but my dear one, remember that this is just a play on a stage. It is not real in the sense of eternity. It is a schoolroom for you to learn, to grow, and to understand. It gives you something to push against. Think about this. It gives you something to push against. You see, on the rounds of love and light, everything is too easy, and you have it too easy, and you do not grow. You do not have the opportunity. You do grow on these rounds, but you do not have the opportunity to move forward as rapidly as you do on this play on a stage, this plane of illusion. And this is why you come here, is to have these opportunities that most people call trouble and problems, to have these experiences that give you a choice to react in a negative way or a loving way, to handle every situation as if it were God. When you realize that God is everywhere present and that he is in everyone that you meet, that he is the life force that sustains all life, then you are always walking on hallowed ground. You are always speaking to God. You are always seeing God. Have this realization, my dear ones. Think about it. And when you awaken in the morning to go forth into your day, realize that you are dealing with this physical plane of illusion, yes, but you are also dealing with God. And things may seem contradictory in this way, but you see, God is even on this plane of illusion because it has to have life force to exist. You have created this stage, this play on the stage, this plane of illusion for your growth. You are God's, and through the power of your Godhood, you have created this plane so that you would have the opportunity for growth. And my dear ones, you may not want to accept this, but you have created all the problems and troubles that you think of, that we think of as opportunities. You create them and then bump up against them, and then you have the opportunity to see how you will handle it. This may be difficult for you to understand and to accept when you think of some of the experiences that you have had, when you see the news and the experiences that so many other people are having that seem so dire. But, my dear ones, you are the creator of your existence. You do make your life what it is. Take charge of it and make it what you really want it to be. Would you like to ask questions at this time? This is a good class to ask questions about and to gain more understanding, to raise your consciousness, to be able to be the master of your destiny. As you go through your days, be aware. Be aware. I will repeat this to you many times so that you will remember to be aware. It is sometimes like you are sleepwalking and you go through your routines and you do this and you do that, and sometimes you think of God and sometimes you do not. Sometimes you remember that you are divine, and most of the time you do not. Is this not true? Yes. If you remembered most of the time your divinity, you would be bringing a message from this side of the veil. If you have the realization, if you move your consciousness to the height that you realize your divinity and the fullness of your godhood, then you are the master. You are the master of yourself, and you have dominion over this world and the heavens and everything in it. My dear ones, this may seem too much for you to accept, but it is truth. It is eternal truth. It is not physical facts. Physical facts are of the plane of illusion for the most part. Yes, they exist, and you exist on this plane and are playing the play on this stage. And it doesn't matter what role that you're playing, what kind of job that you have, or what kind of situation that you're in. But it does matter how you think about it. It does matter how you react to it. It matters very much. This is the test, if you would call it a test, is how you handle the situations that you come up against every day. When you have someone who would contend with you, how are you going to handle it? Are you going to be angry? Are you going to be disturbed? If someone opposes the way that you're doing something, how are you going to feel about it? When you can remember, my dear ones, that this is God that is opposing, this is God appearing as this personality that is playing a role that does not realize their godhood, but it still is God. And when you can have this realization, and when you can think of it in this way, then you can send them love, God's love, and be at peace with them and with yourself, realizing that they are disturbed within themselves and they need love. They do not need your anger. They do not need your opposing them, but they do need help. And you, when you know this, can help them, but more than that, you help yourself by not reacting in a negative emotional way, by reacting in a loving way, and by sending them God's love and being open to help them in any and every way that you can. Everyone in the universe is on the path moving Godward, whether they know it or not. There are many, many planets where physical beings are very high in their spiritual understanding, and they know much, they have a greater realization of their spiritual being than other planets. There are many dimensions that are higher and lower, but they're all moving Godward. And when you think about this, the dimension above, or the planet above, is reaching down to help that one below, but they are also reaching up to get help from the one above. And it is an ever-ending ladder of reaching down and reaching up. When we are open to be a channel for God to work through, and to give the light that we have to those who are reaching out for it, then we can easily reach up for more light and accept it and allow it to come into our being and to fill us with the goodness and the feeling of fulfillment. Are there questions here this evening? Would you speak loud, please?
I have a question about a particular place.
You have to speak louder. It will not be on the tape.
I have a question about a name of a particular place. Matter of fact, it's a planet I've been to a long time ago. I'm not saying the last time it's been.
Yes,
a temple with very large mountains, snow top. And there was an accident, and the temple was destroyed. Everyone was killed, including myself, because I remember.
Can I interrupt you, please? These kinds of questions we do not discuss in this class. This is considered a personal question, and in this class, Donald has been programmed to not answer the personal questions, and so I respect his belief in this. There are many, many lifetimes that you have had, and many experiences on many planets and many dimensions. And if you care to attend the class that Donald calls Time Travel, you will be taught how to move into the understanding of this that is in your own memory banks. And it is much better, you see, for you to get the answers from within yourself than to have someone else to tell you what is truth about your personal self and what is not. In Donald's training, the teachers that started many, many years ago with the group back in Oklahoma, they asked not to give readings. As a psychic, you might go to and get a reading. And his training has been such. And I do not mean to embarrass you because you did not realize this. But try to understand that it is much better to have the realization from within yourself. You get a much fuller picture and a much better understanding because it is not colored by the one that gives you the answers.
Yes, many have told me that.
Would you speak loud, please?
Many have told me that, and a short time later I got the information out of my mind. I guess I will get information about this place because I've been seeing pieces of it.
Yes.
And now I've got basically all that happened. And I was wondering the name of that place because it is very similar to this planet in certain areas. the higher mountain areas look similar to that.
Yes, those answers are all within you, my dear, and you will receive them when you are ready for them. You are picking up pieces of it, and maybe it has something to do with this incarnation. When we begin to remember things from other lives, it is not always true, but when we begin to remember these things, it is because that it has a connection with this incarnation, something that you have carried over into this incarnation that needs to be understood, that needs the greater understanding. And you see, when you go to the class on age regression and you learn to bring it forth from within yourself, then you see a much clearer picture, because no one else on the lower dimensions especially can give you the clear picture that you can see yourself that happened to you. These things are all in your memory banks. They are there for you to investigate. They are there for you to remember and to help you to clear up any karma, so-called karma, that you brought with you from other incarnations. Do you understand?
I seem to be remembering though all of them. I can go back into, well, that's where I come from, generative cycles of different places I've been. I can remember any, I can see it perfectly. I understand my last one before this. The place I was talking about is before that.
Yes.
And I can see one before that. So I've been in many places, and lately I've been seeing, going into them. You know, I can see what happened.
Mm-hmm. You will get your answers from within yourself. And this is the way to do this. Many people go to a psychic for readings, and maybe they get some confirmation, like you are seeking, of what they already know. And maybe it is colored much by the medium who is giving the message to them. And so it is sometimes confusing, and it is much better that each individual learn to go within themselves and get the answers, because, my dear, they are all there within you. Are there other questions this evening? Do not be concerned about whether it is personal or not. I do not mean to frighten you to not ask questions, but it is good when you open up and ask questions that can be helpful to your growth and your spiritual understanding. This is what we come here for, is to understand our spiritual selves, because all day long you are dealing with your physical self. You are using your five senses to be aware of what's going on the physical plane, and maybe you have a job that you have to deal with. Maybe you have children and family that you have to deal with. And when you come here, you come to be fed spiritually, to have spiritual food. And when you are open and receptive, then your teachers and your guides can help you from this side of the veil to be aware of the message that has been spoken, and to gain understanding from it. Tonight's class is about taking charge of your life. Do you understand what we mean about this? Are there any questions about this?
I have a question.
Yes.
Could you discuss the role of affirmations in taking charge of your life?
Yes. Affirmations, when formed in a positive and loving way, can be very helpful. It is important that you know how to form them where you are speaking in to your higher self and bypassing the negative food that the subconscious sometimes would like. When you give yourself words of encouragement, always talk about the answer and not about the problem, and realize that your subconscious has been programmed for the most part in a negative way on this plane, and it will, if you do not know the proper way, it will formulate the affirmation in a negative way sometimes. So check your affirmations and write them down and look at them from the higher self and see if they are talking about the answer that you want, the spiritual growth that you want to acquire. And you can read these with feeling, with emotion, with conviction 4 or 5 times a day, and they will help you to get a greater understanding through the subconscious to the higher self, re-educating the subconscious, helping the subconscious to realize the spiritual truth instead of the negative programming. Does this help your understanding?
Yes, thank you.
Is this what you were asking about?
Should affirmations be used in meditations?
They can be used in meditation. There are people use meditation for many different things in many different ways. But the reason for meditation is to go within yourself to the center of your being and have communion with the God within you. I would feel that the affirmation should be used before the meditation and set the tone for your meditation, and then go within and be still. Find that still, quiet place within you where God dwells and feel His presence. Go there daily, at least once a day, and give 15 or 20 minutes or 30 minutes time to just dwelling in God's presence. And maybe you do not receive anything in words, or maybe nothing in knowing, but when you dwell in a quiet, peaceful way within yourself, you are dwelling in God's presence. And you may not see any results, but the results will be there, and your spiritual self will be fed, and you will be fulfilled. Does this help your understanding?
Yes, thank you.
God bless you. I feel other questions here this evening. Feel free to ask them. And if they are too personal, then ask the spiritual truth about them. This is a way of getting around this. If you have something that is bothering you personally, then ask a question about the spiritual truth regarding what is bothering you, and you do not need to say what is bothering you or what the personal problem is or whatever, but you can ask to know the spiritual truth of something.
Yes, I have another question.
Speak loudly, please.
I have a question about something I was reading last month about some beings that are not of this planet. They call them the grave or lizard people, or as where I come from, they call the crimson lizard people. And I was wondering if they do exist here, if that is true.
There are all kinds of beings throughout the universe, and I am not sure what you are referring to, but are you referring to beings of darkness?
Well,
that are not...
Or to the story in the newspaper, they're causing problems on this planet. They're kind of behind the scenes.
Yes. So they would not be beings of light.
Well,
Yes, the planes of darkness, you see, are intermingled with your physical plane and does have an influence upon it. And this all works together for your good, whether you can see it or not, because then you have something to push against, you see. There are realms of darkness, and millions of entities are on these realms of darkness. They go on and on. They are there sometimes because they're confused, and they are there sometimes because they choose to remain there. But eventually, God's love and light will pull them up out of this darkness, because their essence is divine love, and they cannot remain there forever. The divine being within them, the life force, is God. And God has given everyone the choice of how to use this life force. And sometimes there are entities who dwell on these dark realms and dim realms for many centuries, long periods of time, and then they have to, when they decide to go the other way, they have to work out of this darkness. And there will be a time when they do this, because God's love is drawing everyone to Him.
it used to not be that way. I can see them as they were if my information's collapsed. That they are lizards, according to that paper, unknown if it's correct. But they have technology that cloaks them, and they look like everyone else. So if you saw one, if you didn't scan their minds, they would seem to be just like anyone else.
Yes. There are many writers today who are writing to feed the dark side of people. And when you are on this realm of duality, you have a side of light and a side of darkness. And many on this dimension, more on this dimension, are feeding off of the dark side. And so the writers take advantage of this and write of these kind of things to get people's attention and to make money, and it does feed the dark side. Now, when you understand your divine being and know this, then you will be drawn more to books and writings that are of truth, eternal truth, and of divine love. When you read the books that are, they can be dimness or the gray lines. There are fine lines between the light and the darkness sometimes, but it is still feeding off of this side of you that is not fully in the light of God. This side of you that you took on when you came out of the Godhead or from the Garden of Eden, as you know it.
So, do they exist? Because if they do, then I would like to see them again. Because I knew them a long time ago.
Yes. On many planets, on every planet, you're going to find different forms, entities who are existing in different forms than you have. Some are very similar to yours, but when we look at ourselves and our planet is the only one that we know, then we want everyone else to relate just like we are. And if you remember, prejudice is, if they're not like us, why, they're different, and they're outcast. But you see, my dear ones, on other planets, there may not be oxygen that feeds the body. There may be something else, and they may have a different atmosphere altogether. There are many, many things throughout the universe, and it makes it very interesting. You will find interesting things in this coming Saturdays. Donald has called it Phenomena Day, and some things that really stir your thinking to help you to get out of this 2% world into more of the 98%, more of the reality of life. Are there other questions? As we look at life from where we are, ask yourself, who is in charge? Who is talking? Is it my little self, or is it the God that dwells within me? Who is thinking these thoughts that I am thinking? Who is feeling these feelings that I am feeling? Who promotes this mood that I am having? It is good to check up on yourself often through the day, and when you can start your day out with the light of God's love and the joy in your heart, and move into your day and continue to renew this, and to watch yourself and realize what is going on within you, who is in charge. If you do not, then you are sleepwalking. You are like hypnotized, you are like asleep, and just going through life to make it from one day to the next, from one payday to the next. And when you get back home on these realms, you may be very disappointed if you do not make some progress, because you have a plan before you are born into the physical, and a plan of growth. And when you are aware, self-aware, then you can see and know whether you are fulfilling this plan that you came to fulfill, or whether you are going the other direction. It is important, my dear ones, to be aware and to take charge of your life and know the divine being that dwells within you. I cannot stress this enough. There's nothing more important in life than how you and God are. How is your relationship to God? When you can say, I have a personal relationship with God, then this is a great step forward. And when you take time throughout the day to go within and talk to God and allow His presence to be in your conscious awareness, then you are walking the path of light and you are moving forward. And you ask Him often to guide you. And it matters not whether it is your teachers or your guides. It is all God who is helping you. Everything in life is the Creator, or else it would not exist. Are there other questions this evening? This is a subject that some may not want to hear, about taking charge of your life, but it is a subject that is very important, and it takes courage, and it takes a little thinking and awareness to take charge and be the master of yourself, instead of just drifting with the flow and letting the world take you where it will. Some people think that it is easier just to go along and with what the world is doing and what is happening, and dress in the right way and keep up with the Joneses, and they feel that this is important. But my dear ones, they are not living life as it was intended to be. They are just existing. And when you can know that you are divine and take charge of your thinking, take charge of your emotions, and allow yourself to be aware of God's presence within you, then you are living the life that it was intended. And when you come home, then you will be happy and you will rejoice. This has been a beautiful evening to be here with you, and I commend you on coming to this circle of light. I commend you on moving forward and taking charge of your life. Keep on keeping on. God bless you, my dear ones, and good evening.
Both hands.
Let us think of coming together in the physical by holding hands and bringing down this divine light and love that has been given to us tonight. Let us feel the presence of God within us and the presence of God within these higher beings that talk to us on these weekly visits. Let us feel this divine love filling this room, going around this circle, and gaining momentum, spilling out over the city and covering this planet and going out to the whole universe. We are open, clear, clean channels if we want to be, for God to work through. Let us send love ahead into this week, into our every thought, word, and deed. Let us remember to take charge of our lives and ourselves and be that divine being that we already are. Thank you, Father.
We just thought it's time to Paul. And it's already late.
Tell him about it.